Welcome in to a Thursday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show live. Got the boys with us this morning.
Boys in
Jack
the house.
here,
Boys
Noah,
in the house.
Lizzie, Jordy Culotta checking in. Congratulations to Sophie this morning on her 8th grade graduation. That's where Katie is. She'll be out for the show as they celebrate a graduate after last night over at Our Lady of Mercy, this morning over at Episcopal for Katie and the crew. So congratulations to the family. It's graduation season, boys, as it is a great time to be on LSU's campus. No traffic.
Oh, yeah. Every day the house is cleared out, dude.
Summer school is obviously not started yet, right? Is it intercessions not moving?
It's not summer school. Like
that's how you graduate there, Jack.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the key to
summer
it.
School.
The fast track, dude.
Summer school and intercession.
Intercession. That's the cheat code, intercession.
That is the
you
cheat
do
code.
nothing and like, all right, he's a B, dude.
3 weeks.
3 weeks, but the only thing you got to do is wake up at 7 a.m.
As long as you
Just
show
be
up.
there.
As long as you show up. Yes, indeed. Can I get a minute with you after class? Real quick.
I'm really trying here.
Yeah, man. I mean, this has been tough, but I've been locked in. Can I just get the C, please?
Oh, Kramer's Delight, dude. 3 weeks for intercession? Isn't
What's
that
the
all
maximum
it is?
amount of hours I can take?
Right. It's like, I'll just knock all this out.
Magee from District 53 down in Houma will be stopping by in the UDL coming up here at 8:30, and he's talking marijuana. Looking forward to the conversation with the representative coming up at 8:30 this morning. We will ask him about his marijuana bill and the policy making and how COVID has affected it. Also, a lot of the revenue from this marijuana bill, and this is part of the bill, and also for recreational use. A lot of the revenue here is going to the roads and infrastructure. Yes, and Tanner Magee, Representative Magee, is the only legislator that has passed a major road bill for Louisiana. And that was the BP settlement bill. So I mean, this guy, he understands what the huge concerns. In fact, if you go back on and follow him, what that dedicated money was used for with federal funding coming down post-COVID. So we'll talk to him about all of that coming up at 8:30 this morning. 8 a.m., Senator Pat Connick will be on the phone with us, compliments of Metropolitan Health Group, as Senator Connick's bill that could come up to vote as soon as Monday. And we'll talk to him about some of the stipulations within that bill. It's been like to get this bill moving forward, and how much the coaches and decision makers around college athletics within the state of Louisiana are urging the legislators to get this done. If you remember, Kim Mulkey was up at the Capitol last week and very much encouraging the legislators to make sure and not let this opportunity pass by. Because it will absolutely change the game of recruiting. It will change the game in which college athletics is played, and for now and moving forward. I mean, if this is signed into law, and the way that I read Senator Connick's bill is that this could be signed into law and enacted as soon as July 1st here in the state.
That's when Alabama's is ready to go. Yeah,
and alongside those schools, as far as some of the first ones to be able to recruit towards name, image, and likeness, and also offer this to their student athletes. So it'll be interesting to have these conversations coming up with a couple of legislators here. Senator Pat Connick coming up at 8 a.m. and then 8:30 this morning, we will talk to Representative Tanner Magee, who will stop by and talk marijuana and some of the overriding issues during this legislative session. So stick around.
Big politics day.
Yeah, huge politics day. We do have a text in to Jeff Duncan, who's over at The Athletic. He covers the New to the Saints schedule, which was published last night, along with the rest of the NFL. Before we get there, remember, as we said, everybody who appears here on the phone this morning is compliments of Metropolitan Health Group. Metropolitan Health Group, real doctors, real solutions. Get in touch with Charles Harvey and Jason Ramazan and the crew over at Metropolitan Health Group. Of course, supporters here of the Jordy Culotta Show since day one. We're always appreciative of them and everybody who appears via the phone lines, like Senator Pat Connick coming up in less than an hour from now, is compliments of Metropolitan Health Group. And our coffee is daily brought to you by, and remember, DeliciousSips.com is where you can order yours online, and the official coffee of the Jordy Culotta Show. But last night, the New Orleans Saints had their schedule produced and published with the rest of the NFL. And the first thing that jumps out is the amount of respect that the Saints franchise has post Drew Brees. And not to say that I thought that the Saints would be overlooked or the Saints would be some forgotten franchise without Brees, but it's a quarterback's league, right? I mean, that's the centerpiece. The Saints for the last 15 seasons, but the entire NFL. I mean, look at the structure of the rules, look at the contracts, look at the amount of money that these guys are making at that specific position. I mean, if nothing else, it is the most highlighted position in sports, right? I mean, when you talk about individual positions in sports, I think none are more popular and or discussed than the quarterback position, specifically in the NFL. I mean, there's some high-caliber college guys that we talk about year in, year out, but for the most part, we're talking about the Aaron Rodgers and the Tom Bradys and the Deshaun Watsons, Pat Mahomes, and Lamar Jacksons of the world, right? And the Saints are in a transition for the first time in a long time. In a generation, and over a generation, they are looking for their successor at quarterback behind of the organization since he landed in 2006. But the schedule says that they're a very much respected team, and they may have their quarterback already figured out, or at least in the eyes of the NFL, they're not necessarily concerned with the questions that they have at that position, because when you look at the Saints schedule, I mean, 2 Monday night games, 2 Thursday night games, a Sunday night contest, 2 on holidays, including Thanksgiving and on Halloween versus Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There are at least 2 national games on Fox, including the season opener on Green Bay, and that Halloween contest will be a national game versus Tampa Bay. In addition, 5 of the national games are in the Superdome. So the NFL much does recognize that when the Saints are at home on national TV, it's a great television product. It's something that they want to sell to their public. They want to sell to their consumer, to their fan base, is a nationally televised game on featuring the New Orleans Saints from the Superdome. So I thought, first and foremost, the Saints are very much respected within the NFL offices up there in New York City after looking at the primetime matchups that they get. I mean, some of the games that obviously jump out is going to be on Thanksgiving Day. They'll play Buffalo inside of the Superdome. I think when you look at Buffalo, you've got to circle them as one of the fast-rising teams in the AFC. I mean, you know, we talk about the quarterback position. I mean,
Josh Allen was the top 3 MVP. He just came out of nowhere.
They seem like they've got the quarterback position figured out. They've got one of the top defenses in the league. It will be, you know, must-watch television. How about the Dallas Cowboys in town on a Thursday night matchup? And then, of course, the NFC South matchups alone are so attractive when you talk about the rivalry between the Falcons, Tom Brady being in Carolina, Tom Brady being in Tampa Bay, Joe Brady being in Carolina, Atlanta with a turnover and a transition coming up for Matt Ryan over the next couple of years, but Kyle Pitts being there, Julio Jones on the back end of his career, so many LSU guys there with Deion Jones and Russell Gage. So, I mean, there's just always something to watch with the Saints, but the first thing that jumped out was the amount of respect that they still pull within New York City and within league offices after seeing so many primetime games. Bortles versus Jameis Winston.
The matchup everybody's been waiting for.
How do you even pitch that as the marketing team?
I mean, that's a Thursday night football absolute, like, no, in like another world.
Sure.
Like for like a scheduling wise, that's like when you would put the
October.
Yeah, like the bad Titans against the Texans, you know? Like that's that kind of matchup if you've got Jordan Love and Jameis Winston, but if it's Aaron Rodgers and Jameis, then it's got a little pool.
Well, I mean, I'd imagine that is the top bullet point of creating schedules in the NFL.
Quarterback
matching
matchups.
up the quararbabbacks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you're looking at because that's what the viewers are looking at.
Points sell.
I mean, that's what you want. That's what's going to bring the eyeballs to the television and picking on Blake Bortles in week 1.
Who would have thought?
In the national game of the week, in America's game of the week from the Superdome, with the news yesterday that Blake Bortles has much uncertainty around the NFL's MVP and Aaron Rodgers and where he sits and fits in.
Do you think that means anything? They had 2 quarterbacks yesterday. Now they have 3.
I don't think it means anything immediately, but I think that they're its policy at that position because, they're in a position on, in the calendar that they didn't think they would be dealing with. I ultimately think that they lose him.
Rodgers?
Yeah, I think that he's such a headstrong athlete and in a position in his career where told what to do. You know what I mean? I think that it's almost gotten to a point where we'll see because there are reports coming out that a long-term lucrative offer
more money than Mahomes
has been presented to Rodgers from Green Bay. So, I mean, that would obviously to watch there. But
cripple them. They're such a small market.
Well, and the ownership situation is very bizarre in the 21st century, where it's like the people of the town. Yeah, we all own the team, so who actually makes the decision? And the way that the Rodgers thing got out, I thought was interesting because it was basically Adam Schefter just running with it by himself. Like he's like, he was on Dan Patrick. They asked him, "Who are your sources?" And he's like, "I don't have any sources." He goes, "I'm just watching from a bird's eye view what's been happening over the past, 6 months or whatever since the NFC Championship game. There's been no good news coming out of Green Bay." So he's pretty much, Adam Schefter pretty much, I would say, made it up. Like it's not well sourced. It's not coming from anybody within, the building. And if it is, he's covering his ass for leaking it out. Also true. But I think they're working behind the scenes. Green Bay very much is. You have to get a deal done.
You would think. That would save their.
Because what's the holdup?
He doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be there.
He doesn't live there.
No, that's it.
He goes back to California.
But Green Bay's kind of bungled this thing from the last, you would say, 8 years with him. Like, it's never been, all right, let's extend him, 2 years before we're supposed to. It's been like him and a Haw trying to get Rodgers to sign it.
Said something about Jordy Nelson, his favorite wide receiver. It's like, oh, yeah, he's gone, by the way.
Right. Yeah, anytime he mentions somebody, they cut him. They draft a quarterback to replace him when he needs a weapon. It's just been like a totally way to get a all-time great quarterback out of your franchise?
I was listening to the Rich Eisen podcast yesterday, and he had Jason Light on, who is the general manager for Tampa Bay. Was asking him the relationship that he shares with Tom Brady, and Eisen was kind of trying to tiptoe around asking in so many words, how much power do you give Brady, right? Mm-hmm. And Light kind of went full in and said, look, man, a couple of weeks ago we were thinking about signing Giovanni Bernard, and I sent Brady a text message and asked him, what do you think about this guy? And Brady said, love the guy, always have. If we can make a move for him, let's get it done. And Eisen said, was just kind of saying, wow, it's that easy, huh? And he said, well, look, man, you got to recognize who is around you. And I think that's one thing that Aaron Rodgers – and just kind of listening to that and then listening to Rich talk about how, Light is pretty much recognizing that, look, we got Tom Brady. He's a resource. He's further along in his career than anybody that's played that position. He's more decorated and he's got more championships. He's a resource for us. Let's go to him.
And we're on the same page. This guy wants to win just as bad as we do, if not more.
Absolutely. And his success is only going to brightly shine the light on me. You know what I mean? And understand that. Green Bay's never really.
Why wouldn't you?
I don't understand that. I don't understand why you wouldn't. I can imagine that Sean Payton picked up the phone many a times during Breeze's career and said, "Hey, look, we're thinking about the second-round pick." Anybody else you think that stood out to you during the pre-draft process? Maybe not when they're during draft day, but I'm sure that they're consulting with Breeze along the way.
Well, you have so much. Yeah, you have so much time in between, like the pre-draft process and the draft. It's like, hey, Drew, do you want to sit down and watch some of these guys and tell me who you like? Like, it's just so easy to do. You don't even have to listen to him, but to, like, at least give him the opportunity to have his voice in the room. And before all the Deshaun Watson stuff happened, that's what Deshaun wanted. He was like, I just want my voice to be heard. Like, it's the most important player in the most important position in sports. I'd imagine you probably should listen to him.
Yeah, for sure. Travis McGraw says the NFL could be setting up on a national stage.
Ooh.
Jeff Marcon says the Saints still have one of the best rosters in the NFL. I agree with that. I think that the Saints still, and when you talk about parts on offense, guys like Ryan Ramczyk, guys like Mike Thomas, and obviously Alvin Kamara, you still have some of the top-end talent in the NFL, and a mind like Sean Payton just, I mean, look at the struggles. They were very bizarre.
Talking about the Joe Brady one?
He was just talking about how the offense in Carolina never practiced
2-minute drill or red zone.
I thought the timing of the comments were weird. And, I mean, just that alone is strange to think about on a practice those components of offense. I don't know. But
especially when Joe Brady was here, what was his go-to? Yeah, what was his go-to? He's like, I'm a great third down caller, and we're excellent in the red zone. Like, those are my two pillars of calling offensive plays.
Exactly.
So it seems like he probably would have had a focus on it when he went to the next level.
Right. But I think that Teddy Bridgewater is the absolute best example that you can give of just how good of a coach Sean Payton is. I mean, really. I mean, I don't think that Teddy Bridgewater is that bad, but when you see him play
5-1,
a 16, I think he was undefeated.
Yeah, he didn't lose.
Yeah, no, he didn't lose. No, I mean, he was undefeated. And
yeah, I guess the loss against the Rams doesn't count as a starter.
Well, he came in mid-game.
Yeah.
Okay. And still, I mean, it wasn't on Teddy that they lost that game.
That defense was just all over the place.
Yeah, the defense.
What a terrible situation to step into. When you look at this state schedule, I mean, I see worst case scenario 2-4-5-1 going into the bye. I mean, if Green Bay has Aaron Rodgers, then that could be a loss. But if you just talk, okay, we should beat the Panthers, we should beat the Pats, we should beat the Giants, we should beat the Redskins. Oh, Washington football team, excuse me.
Yeah, and we're not
Good Lord, almost got canceled right there.
I mean, you just don't know with the Saints who's going to be under center.
But that's a great, that's an easy kind of stretch there.
Washington?
Yeah, I do.
Little Fitzmagic?
Yeah, dude, they have Heineke.
I think Fitzmagic will be the starter.
We got Sean Payton.
For sure.
And I believe in Jameis. I'll ride with Jameis this season if he can cut the interceptions in half. I think we'll be all right. We can beat the Giants and the Washington football team. I know they looked good last year with a little playoff push against Tampa, but
nervous versus the Panthers. I think they're
I just kind of like I kind of like what the Panthers are doing over there.
I think Sam Darnold's is gonna be good.
Yeah,
get some weapons.
Daily, we are brought to you by AdvantaClean, ADVANTA clean.com. Remember, AdvantaClean, water, fire, and mold damage. Get in touch with Bradley Lynch and his crew. They're over in Industrioplex. You can find them online or find them on social media. They got great social media over at AdvantaClean where you can get in touch with them and find them there. They've got so many success stories that you can learn about some of the nightmare phone calls that people have made about water damage, fire damage, mold in their house, in their office, and Bradley comes in with his crew. They're open 24 hours a day. They take your phone calls at 225-369-5228, 225-369-5228, or online at AdvantaClean.com. All right, we'll get to some of our political topics coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show this morning, as we will talk to Senator Pat Connick coming up here at 8 a.m. Connick is the author of the Name, Image, and Likeness Bill, which is Senate Bill 60, which is working its way through the legislature right now and could be voted on as early as Monday, I believe. We will get the specifics from Representative Connick coming up at 8 a.m. this morning. Then at 8:30, Representative Tanner Magee, who's out of the Houma District, District 53, will stop by and talk about his marijuana bill, which is become a very point of popular discussion both up at the Capitol and in the public. So we will have him inside of the UDL. Dr. Chad Spillers passes on his hello to Tanner Magee, who's a former classmate of his back at LSU. So we'll be looking toward that conversation coming up. Seems like we got some technical difficulties going on. If you're looking at the bunker, let's take a little break here and see if we can't reset and get set for the last 90 minutes that we have coming up here. We'll talk about the LSU University Club, which right now is the centerpiece of some controversy within the golfing world, within the women's golfing world, and the NCAA. We'll talk about that coming up. More on the Saints schedule, as we'll talk about some specific games coming up here before we get out of the first hour, and then obviously we'll look ahead to the second hour coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show, presented by Go Chevrolet every day. Are you self-employed? then you need
Yeah, I
to learn
saw it.
about
Turn it up on
Angel
the
Oak's
TV.
Home Loans bank statement
Just bump it
program
over
that
here.
they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at jordyculotta.com to learn more. 5228 225 369 5228 or online at anaclean.com. All right, gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022, 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard.
Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school. So you can feel cool. Give it to me, baby. Baby. Yeah.
Welcome back in here to the Jordy Culotta Show, presented every day by Go Chevrolet. Remember, online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. Stop in, see Lee Carney, see Nick Richard, see the entire crew over there over at Go Chevrolet. Newest member of the Go Chevrolet family is Go Express Auto Sales, which is located out on Florida Boulevard. So if you need a used car, stop in and see Go Express Auto Sales. Hopefully we got everything moving. It seemed like everything was good on our end. From a technical standpoint. So, is that the TV?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. We're trying a whole bunch of things over here to see if we're working or not.
Too much audio now.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we're too hot.
Everything's good.
Everything's good, guys.
We appreciate you letting us know what's going on. We appreciate you being out there. Remember, like, share the post, comment on the post. We appreciate your interaction. As we said, we will talk to Senator Pat Connick coming up here at 8 a.m., and we will talk to Representative Tanner Magee at 8:30 this morning. If they've got some hot-button issues right now up at the state legislature, including the name, image, and likeness coming up here from Senator Connick. And the more that you learn and the more you read about these issues, the the issues of what's going on with name, image, and likeness. You see the mad dash of trying to be first in line to get this done.
And July 1st is the day. That's the earliest right now.
July 1st.
Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, Texas.
Sensing a theme here as to who wants to be first in the door and
Sounds
what
like
conference they're in.
Sounds like the recruiting top 10.
Yes.
Yeah, yep.
Right? I mean, everybody who's anybody in college football is trying to get this done, and just some of the things that would make the Louisiana bill stand out is under Connick's bill, a school and the athlete could arrange a joint deal through a third party that would allow the athlete to wear the jersey in a commercial in such a deal, which universities already broker with companies that use their marks, their logos. The athlete and the school would be compensated in some determined amount. Another unique portion of Senate Bill 60 is that Louisiana college athletes would have the opportunity to broker deals through a third party that would allow them to use their school's official logos, colors, in name, image, and likeness deals, a provision that is either prohibited, briefly mentioned, or absent in other states' bills pegged for, as Jack said, July 1st. Still, the university holds the ultimate permission for its marks and logos. A student under the proposed bill also is prohibited from endorsing tobacco, alcohol, illegal substances, or activities banned, athletic substances, and any form of gambling.
I say just give them the most leeway as possible. It's just, what's the pushback because they're student athletes?
Sure, and I think that really what universities are trying to do is trying to protect their corporate dollar.
Exactly.
More than anything. That's what they want protected from, from everybody, not just their student athletes. I mean, they don't want anybody to have access.
That argument that they're repay them in their education, that's just a joke because their week of playing football, or if you're an athlete, is 42 hours a week. That's more than the average Joe working. You miss 3/4 of your classes. Say if you're playing basketball, you're not in the classroom. You're not learning anything. What you get paid in is half an education. It's not real education. It's just this fake argument that you're an amateur athlete when they're bringing in the bucks. It's a joke, the argument.
No, it is. It is. And I think really what the argument now is going to become is compensating the second-tier players, right? I mean, a lot of people believe that these rules, these laws that are going into act, and I'm looking forward to talking to the senator about this, really is advantage Joe Burrow, is advantage Ben Simmons, is advantage Dylan Cruz, is advantage really kind of, the faces of the teams. I would argue that I think that this would be a great opportunity. A former coworker of mine, a guy like T-Bob Hebert, he was a starter at LSU his junior and his senior year. But before that, he had a very recognizable face and very much of a recognizable personality that he would show on social media. At the time, social media was fairly new. Twitter was brand new. Facebook had been around. There was no Instagram. But for the most part, T-Bob was able to make a connection with fans.
Build the brand.
And build a brand through his social media account. And you didn't really know him from on the field his first couple of years that he was in Baton Rouge. Now, like I said, he went on to become a starter and a guy that was a regular contributor on a national championship level team. But by that time, you had already known who he was. So something like name, image, and likeness for a second-team offensive lineman, like T-Bob was, through the first couple of years that he was on campus, is still very much accessible to business owners and to people who want to spend ad dollars in what's going on.
If you're playing LSU football, if you're playing LSU football, most of these recruits, they're going to have at least 65,000 Instagram followers in the blue check mark. That's more than...
have you seen Olivia Dunn, the LSU gymnast?
What is it, 3
million?
million?
3 million followers.
Yeah, and a lot of it is...
I'm going to grab this remote.
Okay. And dude, my biggest argument is I'm kind of with you there, Jordy, because what it can be is it doesn't have to be a superstar. It's going to be somebody with a little personality that you don't have to pay the biggest amount of money to. But if it's kind of like a stooge on the team that everybody knows, and then you're just like, oh, he's kind of like a little bit of a face of the franchise almost in a different way. And it's somebody that you know will come and crush it on your social media. Like, he won't mind, like, if you give him a hat, hell, he might wear it in the dugout during a game and try to slide it in there.
See, I think there are going to be rules against that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think that there's going to be rules.
A hat, hell, he might wear it in the dugout during a game and try to slide it in there.
See, I think there are going to be rules against that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think that there's going to be rules against promoting, and we can ask the senator all these types of questions, so make sure we're marking them down. And if you have a question for Senator Pat Connick, who's coming up here at 8 a.m., just get the questions inside of the bunker, and we'll make sure that they are asked. But we want to make sure and cover every detail about this name, image, and likeness bill, SB 60, that is really making its way through the legislature right now, because this is going to have huge implications. I mean,
recruiting.
Enormous. I mean, I think the easy example is to talk about what Representative Stefanski said earlier this week when Kim Mulkey made her way up to the Capitol. I mean, one of the points of emphasis that she made before she got out of there was encouraging and urging these politicians to pay attention to this bill, to this SB 60, this name, image, and likeness bill, and make sure that there is, there's no conflict in getting this thing through because of how much it means to building college athletic programs. So I really am looking forward to it, but I think that there is very much there are creative ways to get this thing done. I mean, there's a local business here in town, or a local group of business people here in town, businessmen and women here in town, that are throwing, I know, a lot of dollars and resources at an app that is called Matchpoint, that is featured, that is, the whole purpose of the app is to make the student athlete's experience in joining partnership with businesses very easy. It's much like I hate to give it this example, but it's like a dating app.
That's what you say. That's what it sounded like. Yeah, swipe right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right. I mean, it's kind of the title of it, Matchpoint. But like, let's say Derek Stingley Jr. goes and creates a profile, right, for Matchpoint. And he says, I'm into this. I have so many, and he links his Instagram, his Twitter, all of his social media to his profile, and people see how many followers he has. People see the type of content that he publishes. People see that, what his interests are. And then he also gives you, a semi-quasi bio on himself. These are the musicians I like. These are the things that I eat. This is the places that I eat. X, Y, and Z. This is who I am. It gives the business owner, the decision maker, the opportunity to just go through profiles. Olivia Dunn is a great example.
TikTok famous.
Instagram, 3 million followers. Twitter, over 1 million followers. An LSU gymnast. There are so many. You think that Gordon McKernan, you think that Spencer Callahan, you think that Dudley DeBosier, some of these law offices that spend in excess of $100,000 a month in advertising, wouldn't pick up the phone and match themselves up with Olivia, and she has on her profile what each thing you want to promote yourself on my Instagram and talk to 3 million people, it's going to cost you X. You want me to endorse your business on my social media wearing your logo, a hat, a t-shirt, it's going to cost you Y. You want me to come out to an event and cut a ribbon with you and promote that on my social media, it's going to cost you Z. Pay here. Give me your credit card. Go through. Just like that. Transaction done through your phone. Business owner X has joined up with athlete Y to produce whatever promotion Z. There's a cost on that. It's paid right there online, and the transaction is done. I mean, that's how easy this stuff is going to be as soon as the law is enacted. And it sounds like there's not a lot of pushback. I mean, when you have Kim Mulkey up on the Capitol, when you have people like Will Wade talking publicly, I'd imagine that if there is any source of friction to this, you'll have Ed Ogeron up there at some point.
Steve Sark's making videos. They got their, what are you saying? They got their own brand marketing class.
Advantage. It's called the Advantage.
I mean, that's genius.
It really is. I mean,
there's a reason that the college coaches are on the forefront of this also, because they don't want to miss out on the recruiting side of it. So I don't think they even know what. They probably don't know or are very educated on the ins and outs of it. They're just like, make sure we have it so I don't lose anybody, right?
I think they're crash coursing. They're a lot like me with this mortgage stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
God.
like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
3.5 months ago, I had no idea one term in mortgage. But then I'm out of a job and given an opportunity, and I'm now drinking from a fire hose on trying to get as much information as I can so I can get in the rat race and start running. Because the treadmill's moving 100 miles an hour down the track, and you just got to jump in.
Yeah, get kicked off and get back on it.
From a coaching standpoint, same thing. I mean, 3.5, 4 months ago, nobody knew anything about what the terms of name, image, and likeness was really going to mean. Is that something that we're going to have to worry about 1, 2, 3 years down the line? No, Coach. It might be July 1st. And Saban and Smart are already ahead of the game. Their states have already signed the bill. They're ready to go July 1st. Oh, shit. You know what I mean? Like, we got to get up to speed on where we stand. What are our rules? What are our policies? How are we going to enforce that? How are we going to be different than them?
It's like that social media bubble. Like, I will always die in this hill. What made Clemson, especially in the world of recruiting, was they were the first college football school that was on it with social media. We were up to it, 2019, unreal. That's what built the brand. But this is the next bubble. We made the brand 2013, 2014, 2019. Now you can make your brand here now. It's the next chapter in recruiting.
Oh, that's what it is. I mean, that's exactly what the pitch is. I mean, you'll have guys like Marcus Spears, Ryan Clark, Booger McFarland, you know, some of these name brand recognizable figures being probably one of the most dominant recruiters for LSU, from them just telling their message of how they built their brand at LSU, and now they're at ESPN and
Clark,
talking to millions of people. Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, Ryan Clark is the face of the NFL coverage on ESPN alongside Marcus Spears.
Mm-hmm.
Booger McFarland is a hybrid.
Right.
You know, I mean, he does both. He does both college and NFL. Those are the types of figures that name, image, and likeness is really geared after.
They want to play college football again on Xbox. That's the reason why we're able to play it again.
Yeah, the name, image, likeness, and the poor NCAA trying to play catch-up on this thing is unreal. They're trying to come up with their own name, image, and likeness, like, rules behind it. It's like, brother, y'all are so far gone, we're just going to keep running with this thing. And like you said, try to jump on a treadmill. That treadmill's moving. They're trying to get on a train.
Well, I think that states are now stepping in and saying, look, we got this.
Right.
You obviously do not have the manpower, you don't have the brain power, and you don't, quite frankly, you don't want it. You know what I mean? So you're trying to really fight it, because this is a break in your dam. You know what I mean?
This is a waterfall, like
absolutely.
a
golf course,
watershed moment. Yes.
This is going to be a enormous. This will be a time stamp in the NCAA's legacy. I mean, this will be a mile marker of it will be different the way that business is handled within that organization the day after these. You know, all of these bills are signed into law, because, like I said, I mean, the more you read on it and the more information you find just from a state level, while the bills and the language are different in each state, they're all moving down the track on a crash course to get done as soon as possible. I mean, there's really not a lot of reservation. There's not a lot of pushback. If anything, there is a suspended start date for states that are going to put them behind the eight ball. States like North Carolina that are saying that they're going to wait till 2024. I mean, did you see what happened to Florida? Did you read the back news on Florida? Florida was really first in line on this stuff. They were the first to come out and say, hey, on July 1st, Florida is going to give student athletes the opportunity to build their brand. They are going to be first in line. Our legislators are on board. The bill is already drafted. It's going to fly through the legislative session, and it's going to happen. Well, one other legislator who was opposed to it came in on another bill and put some language into another bill that didn't have anything to do with the name, image, and likeness, but suspended the start date for the name, image, and likeness bill by a year. And that lasted about 3 days because coaches came in from all over Florida and just bullied these suits. Started just kind of, not physically, but just verbally pushing them around their state capitol.
God, could you imagine?
Saying, if you don't change this, this is going to be a huge problem for people in your district. Like coaches were about to start
campaigning against them.
Almost politicking against these politicians.
Yeah, well,
and within 3 days, it was back on.
It's not something new to a lot of people, like he said, because of the NCAA video game. People have been waiting for some sort of action since 2014.
Well, I think you look at there's been like examples like Johnny Manziel and Cam Newton, and locally here Joe Burrow. I mean, got Tyrann Mathieu. Guys that if you would have allowed them to put their name on the back of that jersey that you were selling at the gift store, if you're going to put the Burrow name on back of the 9 or the Matthew on back of the 7 that you were selling back in 2012, I mean, those guys could have made a windfall of cash, right? I mean, but and guys like Burrow, who was very, very loud about this. I'll never forget, we set up a July interview with Burrow going into his senior season at the last place I was. And it was all, everything was on the table. There was no stipulations from anybody at LSU, from nobody in the Burrow camp, nobody, it was just going to be a very much a feel-good interview. And the last question I asked him on the way out, because he had just came from the Manning Passing Academy, and he had been asked about essentially name, image, and likeness. He had been asked about how he could make money off of his name in college football. And Burrow, I mean, at that time we really didn't know, but he went Burrow. I mean, he went, it's a sham. It's a joke that they can sell my jersey and me not make any money on it. And I am going to make sure and do my part so the people behind me have the best opportunity to be paid. And, I mean, people were like, kind of in front of me, were like, kind of stood up, sat up straight, like, damn, I mean, he's in it. And we asked him about that same thing. On the way out. And it was probably the best answer of the interview that lasted about 18, 20 minutes. But, I mean, you could hear his passion. You could hear how invested he was. You could tell that this was something he really genuinely cared about. I mean, he was sincere in his attention that he was showing this topic. And
I mean, imagine you're at the bookstore and like, wait, that's my jersey.
Absolutely.
And I'm not making money off that?
Well, yeah, and the biggest thing that got the NCAA not in trouble, but it was something that kind of put it on everybody's radars when Johnny Manziel was having his Heisman year. You could go on the NCAA website and type in, they don't have any names on the back of the jersey, but if you type in Manziel or what have you, his number 2 jersey pops up. He's like, how is that not name, image, and likeness when he just typed in my last name and the jersey pops up without my name on it, but it's the number 2 that I'm running around in on Saturdays. And it was kind of like a gotcha moment for the NCAA. Like, you're exploiting the hell out of these kids.
Yeah, it's, it's time to pay the piper, man.
It is. I mean, you had a good run, dude. They had a hell of a run.
Really have. I mean, for as much as this has been a just mega super Powerball lottery ticket for the NCAA that has been pretty much in plain sight. I mean, it's free labor, and it has been something that they have been collecting on now for, decades on decades on decades, and it's time. I mean, it really is time. And it's going to be nasty. It's going to be dirty. It's going to be funky. I mean, it really is time. And it's going to be nasty. It's going to be dirty. It's going to be funky in finding a common ground in getting to somewhere where it's not, at some point could be argued, could be detrimental to athletics. I think that there are going to be some backs and forths on this issue that is going to be very trying for college athletics.
Well,
but I think ultimately it is going to be the best for the sport because it takes this, it takes that free labor, it takes that discussion, that argument really out of it. And that's what more people in watching sports are invested in, and that I find. I mean, I think that more people, that's the speaking point that people go to, and this rule, this law, attacks that.
Yeah, and there's always going to be people that are going to be on the other side of the fence that think that you should play for the integrity of the game and for the good of the sport. But that, like you said, it's changed so much in terms of how people think about it and view it, and it's been a long time coming. And I mean, good on you, NCAA, for getting as far as you did.
Well, they're acting like this is going to bankrupt. There's still going to be so much money.
That's another point that I think is interesting. Is like, even with this name, image, and likeness, they're still not going to get half of what they could get on like an open market and how it kind of could play out. Because there's going to be ways that they're going to cut into, like, how much money they can make, how much is it taxable, how much goes back to the university. It's not going to be as big as we think it is. Like, people are going to come for the piece of the pie.
Regulate it.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's going to be a trial period that's going to be very wild, wild west.
We're going to watch it play out right in front of us and be like, oh, can't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that again. And, we'll see how much is built into the language of building this law when we talk to Representative Pat Connick coming up here in a couple of minutes. Remember, Daily, we are brought to you by Falaya Real Estate. Our good friend Barrett Blondo over at Falaya Real Estate is really changing the way the game that real estate is sold down here in Louisiana. If you want to find out, you can get in touch with him by calling 225-939-6153. It's no secret that Barrett is trying to disrupt how real estate is being sold down here in South Louisiana. Everything has changed. Isn't it time technology made buying and selling a house easier and a whole lot cheaper? Introducing Falaya.com. Virtual tours and push-button offers are ready for you right now over at Falaya.com. If you want to, download the application, Falaya, at your Apple and Android stores. If you like doing things yourself, if you want to save some cash, then you need to check out Falaya Real Estate. It's do-it-yourself for selling your house. For more information, visit Falaya.com or call Barrett Blondo at 225-939-6153, 225-939-6153. Falaya Real Estate. Sell your home by yourself and save thousands of dollars in cash. Remember, coming up here in a couple of minutes, we'll talk to Representative Pat Connick. But we have not talked about this, the fallout with the NCAA Women's Golf Regional that is happening in Baton Rouge right now. You want to talk about cannot catch a public relations
taking
break.
Kicks to the ribs while you're down on the mat, dude.
Good Lord. The LSU Public Relations Department, as we said, is probably and has been a case study over the last decade of really just how bad it could be when you don't have public relations and you don't pay attention to the PR department of your organization. I think that LSU is an absolute case study and just how not to do it over the last decade. And seemingly they can't catch a break as they are trying to get it right up there, because over at the University Club, they are hosting the NCAA Women's Golf Regional, which makes that an NCAA event. That is not an LSU event, right? I mean, nothing over there is funded by LSU. All of the employees, all of the workers, all of the merchandise, all of the stuff that is being being sold and worked on at the University Club was paid for by the NCAA. Well, yesterday, the regional was abruptly canceled, shut down. NCAA committee representative Brad Hurlbert walked down the stairs at the U Club and announced in front of, I'd say, 60? 65, 70?
He was fed himself to the lions,
I mean,
dude.
just a absolute safari, a jungle, man. I mean, it was a starving group of just student athletes that were ready to play golf. And he goes down there and gives them just a gut-wrenching message in saying that the course is unplayable.
You said it's playable, but
it's
not
actually
at
playable
level.
But not playable at a championship level. And just the feedback, right? I mean, the yells, the boos, the comments start kind of coming in at Hurlburt and his crew standing on the steps of the university club, and just kind of unapologetically, they just kind of storm back towards the clubhouse and shut the door to leave these student athletes from all over the country. I mean, I saw a video from a Miami freshman. There was teams. I saw an Arizona State, Sam Houston State teams that were there at the university club. Just a devastating look for ultimately the NCAA.
Of course, stepping in it.
It comes down on LSU. If you're watching SportsCenter, if you're watching some of the national sports shows that cover, all these topics, the logo that is on the story is LSU and the university club.
The university club doesn't look that nice. Whoever.
Yeah, I mean, the U club
7 inches of rain over the last 2 days.
Oh yeah, no, but he's talking about like the image that they used is like the most colorized. It looked like it's at Nirvana, which it is a nice place. Frank Guppert, throw your boy a membership. But I just feel. Have you ever been in a situation like that yourself, where you had to go to, I don't know, 50, 60 people and be like, I'm going to have to tell them something that they absolutely do not want to hear right now. And then the way he just does it, he's like, I'm not taking questions. I'm not doing anything. He gets catcalled all the way to the point where he just turns around and runs into the clubhouse. He's like, I'm not dealing with that anymore. There's like a line in the sand y'all can't cross. I'm safe, dude. God. He's like, he knew the 3 talking points he had to get to, got to him, and said, sorry, out of here.
I guess that's how you handle it if there is no chance of saving it. Yeah. I mean, I have never been in a situation where I've had to deliver that brutal of a message. I mean, I think we've all probably had to say something that you're embarrassed for in public, but I mean, something like that was,
quit on Black Friday.
That's close. That's close. That was a phone call too. I didn't even do it in person.
That was close.
No, I just had ran out of time, dude. I put it off for a very long time, and then after some afternoon, midday,
couple of
nighttime toddies, I was like, I'll call him at 8 p.m. Hello, you don't want me to come in anyway. Goodbye. We're about to start.
Right. So just
sorry, Richards.
A brutal PR hit for LSU, but there's really not much they could do about it.
A ricochet shot, dude, for LSU.
If you had a good PR department, I guess that they would put out a statement, really kind of clearing the lines and setting the boundaries on, look, we're just the host city on this event.
Sorry, we have a nice course here.
Yeah, right. I mean, this is not LSU. This is not on us, but
wait, dude, do you think people are going to be up, do you think members are out there trying to go play today? Do you think they just shut the course down? You can't let anybody go play golf today.
Well, I mean,
you can.
I can't imagine that
but I'm sure the U
members would not like to be playing on it.
That's what I'm saying. They're like, well, they can play, but I can't. They were going to walk for 3 days. Like, oh, let this guy bump it around for 4 hours. They'll be home before dark.
That's why they use that championship level tag.
Yeah, it's playable, but
what does that even mean?
Exactly. That is the grayest of.
They use that championship level tag.
Yeah, it's playable, but
what does that even mean?
Exactly. That is the grayest of a gray world right there, man. I mean, there is no boundaries on the where's the line of a championship level course?
You just know.
On a college, yeah, right. Your eyeballs tell you.
Yeah, these greens are too slow, too wet. They're going to eat it alive.
That's right. That's it. We're not playing today. Call it off.
For the love of the game. Come on, guys.
Might as well get a Webble.
Yeah, right. We're brought to you daily by RMB Builders. Remember, rmb-builders.com. If you need a custom-made home, if you need a remodeled or anything reconstruction around the house, get in touch with Rhett Bourgeois in RMB Builders, rmb-builders.com. As Rhett is very easy to work with. Him and his crew, get him in for the start of the summer months here to get that reconstruction around the house, the remodel, if you just need some handiwork done, or if you need a custom design home. RMB Builders, rmb-builders.com. When we come back, we'll talk to Senator Pat Connick here, as name, image, and likeness is very much at the forefront of college athletics. His bill, SB 60, is starting to make its way through this legislative session. We'll ask him some of the language, some of the ways that this Louisiana bill is outlining some of their competitive states, and what is the lifeline of this bill, and where are we in the process, and how fast can this thing be put to law? All of those questions and answers coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show when we come back. Remember, we're driven and powered every single day by Go Chevrolet. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy@JordyCulottashow.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy@JordyCulottashow.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Welcome back into the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet every single day here on YouTube, Facebook, and, of course, JordyCulottashow.com. Thanks for all the interaction, likes, shares, and comments. That helps us out a lot. So if you could you do that, we appreciate it. Like, tell a friend. And looking forward to our next conversation, as this has been a hot-button topic here. It really starting last session, and we will talk to Senator Pat Connick coming up here in a couple of seconds. But I think that this was a bill that was really gaining some steam last session, but due to the health concerns and due to the COVID call-off and all of the delays and the legislative session being suspended, it really was kind of moved to the back burner. So now here during this 2021 session, Senator Pat Connick's SB 60 is starting to make its way through the legislative session, and this bill is addressing name, image, and likeness. This has already been enacted into law by 15 states, and 6 will go into effect by July. Among those states are Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and Mississippi. Sounds like the SEC West, right? Or at least the Southeastern Conference. Senator Connick is kind enough to join us here, on which I know is a very busy time for him. With the legislative session happens, he comes out of District 8 and joins us here this morning on the Jordy Culotta Show. Senator, thank you for your time. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all?
We're doing okay. Was this a bill that that really started to take shape and life last session before the health concerns came into the state and around our country?
It was. We were ready to go last, spring, and then the COVID hit and more important matters were facing us. So we had some time, so we put this one back, like you said, on the back burner. And now it's the COVID's behind us, hopefully, and we're going to move forward with it.
We saw Coach Kim Mulkey come up to the Capitol last week, and She was obviously very enthusiastic about being back home and shared a lot of times and shook hands and pictures with the legislators. But she had one message that was pretty firm before she left the Capitol, and that was about SB 60. That was about the name, image, and likeness, and very much urging the legislators to get this through without conflict. What do you make of the support, I guess, you see from college coaches, and how much do you hear from them on
yeah,
how?
that was all. Yeah, that was awesome when she showed up. You know, anybody who was on the fence got pushed to our side. So she's a force. The other individual who was really, pushing this was Dee Dee Bro, the LSU's gymnastics coach. She's been awesome too, and they have been, I wouldn't say lobbying, but they have been, making it known that this is a bill, a law that we need in Louisiana. It could change the lives of many athletes for the better.
LSU's sorry, go ahead.
No, good. Everybody's. I mean, we had bipartisan support for this legislation, and hopefully we can get it done with little pain as possible.
At what point can you start to vote on this bill?
Well, it's going through the process. You have to have it vetted. We had some good discussion in the education committee about a week and a half ago. Yesterday, it went to the finance committee, and it passed out of there. You look at how the cost is going to affect the schools. Now it goes to the Senate for probably early Monday or Tuesday of next week. And then from there, it's going to go to the House side and House Education, then to the House floor, and then hopefully to the governor's signature, where it will become law and maybe the first bill in the nation to take effect.
How much is that an emphasis to be first on this?
Not really. It's just bragging rights if you want, but we just got to be careful how we do it, make sure we do it right, and that's the main focus. Being a week or two in front of somebody else, it's not a big deal. It's all going to happen at this summer, where all these laws are going to go into effect. So we'll be in the lead.
LSU's Executive Deputy Athletic Director Stephanie Remp was up on the Hill yesterday answering questions in front of the Finance Committee. How much do you go back and forth with people like her or people in her position at universities around the state?
Man, they live this life and they know it. So I rely on those guys and the ladies to telling me, what they need. And I just, put it on paper and put it in front of the legislators. But we had a meeting with all the AD directors, athletic directors around the state early on to get their input. Tulane was there. Southern was there. I called my friend in Grambling, the president up there. And everybody had input. Everybody had good ideas. One of the ideas that they came up with early on was a licensing agreement. Like if you're an athlete and you want to wear the LSU or Tulane colors, you have to enter into an agreement with the school to do so. And that will allow you to market, yourself and the university. So it'll be a win-win situation. Part of the bill requires that the student disclose the agreement that they have with the sponsors and those who are doing business with them. And the school will have the ability to oversee and control the content of the message. Like there won't be any ads or sponsorships for gambling and those type of things that will cast the schools in a bad image.
Senator, excuse my ignorance on this question, but if it is signed into law after this session, how fast is it enacted? I mean, would this go into this particular athletic season that would begin on July 1st?
That's the goal. The law as it is written, becomes effective on the signature of the governor. So as soon as the governor signs it, it becomes law. Then it's up to the schools and the universities to put a program in place to make it happen. And that's, I think they're working on that now. A lot of them are working on it. And so by the time the governor signs this legislation, they'll be right up and running, hopefully.
I know this is a very broad question, a very open-ended question, but what do you expect the trial period to be like on this bill and on, I guess, this lifestyle and trying to just find the guidelines to make sure that this thing is governed correctly? Yeah,
these universities have smart folks working, and they're They know how to do these administrative processing things, and I have all the confidence in the world that it's going to be done right and done in a way that benefits the student athletes. And for years, these student athletes have worked tirelessly and entertained us and made thousands and millions of dollars for these universities. It's time for them to share in this revenue for themselves and for their families.
The fan base, the college sports fan base, has little to zero confidence in the NCAA. Is that why you guys became so active on this matter at the state level to get this done, because of what looks like the NCAA just trying to play keep up every day on this subject matter? Or what is your opinion of the NCAA stance and presence on this subject?
If the NCAA would have taken action, there would be no need for this legislation. But because of their inaction, states have stepped forward, and Louisiana is one of those states to say, hey, don't leave us behind. We got to address this issue. And if the NCAA is not going to address it, we will. Maybe this will push the NCAA to enact some legislation that's universal. Maybe it will push Congress to make a law that goes across all states. But right now we don't have that, so this is why we need this legislation to pass in Louisiana.
Senator, does the education portion of this begin in high school with athletes?
No, it's the law that's being proposed has some educational component to it. That might be expanded. I know that's bare minimum that's in the legislation. We looked at other states and what they were doing with the educational component. But what happens in high school, we have no control over. So it's just from the college level.
Senator, you were also the author. What is the life of that bill, and what does the future look like in our state surrounding fantasy play in sports?
Well, I did not. I don't think I offered that one. I know there's some sports betting bills that's going through, and that has not reached the Senate yet. It's in the House, and I think it's passing. So we'll take a good look at that going forward. But as fantasy sports, I wasn't involved in any of those.
Is there anything that we did not discuss on name, image, and likeness that you want to make sure the public knows? I just want to make sure that we cover all of the topics on that bill before we get out of here, because of it being so popular right now within college football and college athletic offices.
If you have an interest or concern, contact your state senator or your state rep, and contact your schools. If you support it or against it, we want to have all the ideas, all the comments, so we can make a bill that's strong. And that's effective, and that can help the students as well as the schools going forward.
And you said this could be voted on as early as Monday?
It's going to Senate floor hopefully Monday, and then I don't see any. I'm going to expect some questioning from the senators, but everyone that has spoken to is for it. They just want to understand it and make sure that it's the right one for the state. Is
this one of the easier bills that you have worked on in session? Because it seems like, as you just noted, and the more that I read on it, there is little to zero pushback.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy one, especially when you get the folks like Tim Malfoy, the basketball coach, and Didi Bro behind it. So,
Senator, thank you very much for your time this morning and session.
Thank you, and have a good day.
Yes, sir. All right, there is Senator Pat Connick checking in this morning, as he's the author of SB 60, which is the name, image, and likeness bill there that is could be passed into law. It seems like that's going to happen.
Yeah, not a lot of pushback, huh?
I mean, not a lot of pushback, not a lot of conflict on that. And as we said, it sounds like the presence of Kim Mulkey really paid dividends, as Mulkey will be here tomorrow morning at 7:30. She will not be inside of the UDL. She is up in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Beautiful city, baby.
Shout out to Jack, the Northeasterner.
15 minutes away from the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. As they will be a collection of talent inside of that building starting tomorrow through the weekend. That is unprecedented. As they will be a collection of talent inside of that building starting tomorrow through the weekend. That is unprecedented. Unprecedented. Tim Duncan will be there. Kevin Garnett will be there. Michael Jordan will be there. The life and legacy and the family of Kobe Bryant will be in that room tomorrow night. Eddie Sutton is in that class. And, of course, Kim Mulkey, who is Louisiana's finest and now the LSU head women's basketball coach,
Hall of Famer.
will be featured in that class with Michael Jordan as her presenter. But she made a huge impact on the feelings of the legislators, it feels like, after her stop there last week. We'll have Representative Tanner Magee inside of the UDL coming up here in 15 minutes, so we'll ask him what that was like.
It feels like they're putting a lot of the onus on the schools to kind of figure it out, as opposed to like, look, we're going to pass this and then do with it what you want, because it didn't seem like it's not very regulated as far as like the thing getting passed.
It's
like,
a free-for-all.
Yeah, it's a free-for-all in their minds too. Like, they're not putting any restrictions on it at all. And then he said, well, I expect the schools to have a plan in place. So it's very much on each individual, not even state, each individual university.
I agree. I agree.
Like
well, I mean, that's what the question was about. Like, why on the state level are you guys so passionate about this? Because the NCAA is lost.
Yeah, dragging their feet.
Yeah, they don't want anything about this. So I mean, the state is going to have to do this by themselves. I guess there will come a day where there is a universal guideline to it. But I mean, for the most part, because
I see the
think,
flaws and then make the universal.
I think that there's going to be so much. I mean, the college football coaches by nature are very whiny individuals. I mean, they make sure they want to, point things out, the hypocrisies of recruiting. I mean, so there will be people saying, we want what Louisiana looks like, or we want what Florida looks like, or we want what Alabama and Mississippi looks like. And all of that is going to come to a head at some point where somebody's just going to have to say, hold up, look, here's how we regulate it and here's how you operate. When that day comes, I don't know, but I imagine in between there, that period, that trial period,
there's going to be some
is going to be the wild west.
That's what I find so interesting, because I don't keep up with bills. Look at me, I don't know anything about politics, but it feels like there's not a lot of answers to any of the questions. They're just rolling it out there. It's like, because there's no pushback, so they don't really have answers for any of the possible questions, which I'm fine with because I'm in favor of this. I've been in favor for a long time. And like you said, dude, if this doesn't pass in some states, you're going to have what happened in Florida, where you got coaches from all over the state and all over different universities storming the Capitol because they want their name, image, and likeness bill passed. Like, they don't know what's going on, but they're going to go in there and bump chests with somebody.
It's going to be crazy to watch. I mean, just kind of how the NCAA is.
They're going to try to insert themselves somewhere, and it's not going to work. They're going to get pushed. They're going to get stiff-armed to the side, while we're all still like money grubbing inside our own, it's going to be bizarre.
They need a total overhaul of their operating agreement. You know what I mean? They need to blow up the way that they operate and make a entire new set of bylaws and guidelines at the NCAA, because it is going to be, to me, it's going to get to a point where they're going to get laughed out of the room.
I think they already are.
Well, I think they're at the door.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think that
$5,000 fine.
Exactly.
Have they done anything good this year? They had the women's and the tournament with the weight rooms. Now the golf course, it's like.
They gave their president an extension and a raise. I mean, think about that. Say out loud just the stuff that has gone on with the NCAA in this calendar year. Forget the last 4 years since he's been in that position. In just the last year, the things that they have bungled out of the Indianapolis office, and to see that organization reward Mark Emmert with an extension and a raise tells you really everything that you need to know about their viability and about really who they are. I mean,
they had 2 years to put together that NCAA tournament.
It's a country club.
Yeah, they just don't want to see the doors shuttered. They're like, well, where am I going to hang out after? I was going to say after work, but that is work. It'll do anything.
I mean, it's a country club of old white men that have been scamming the system for years and finally are being called to the carpet, to the podium on it. And like I said, it is becoming laughable at their existence, and almost to a point where they're out of the room.
Yeah, I mean,
they're out of the room.
They had one leg to stand on, and it was amateurism, and then we just kind of laughed at that now. Like, that's what we were cutting that leg off the chair, and they're sitting on the floor. Like, why are we even here? You kind of have to, like you said, either revamp the whole thing or just be like, you're just going to be the head of the NCAA basketball tournament.
That's all they need to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand really why you wouldn't embrace what you're great at, the thing that you do the best, and just say, hey, look, this is who we are. Because
conference more power.
You've lost all momentum.
They're out of touch.
Exactly. I mean, you're out of touch. They've had people arrested on campus. I mean, Auburn basketball had an assistant basketball coach arrested in their practice facility. I mean, there were reports that Arizona's head coach was paying a player out of his own pocket. I mean, the Tony Bland guy at USC, I mean, another one, arrested on campus. They get $5,000, 2-year suspension, and they get docked 1% of their recruiting budget.
I don't even know what number is that.
I mean, that's probably, I mean, that's got to be like $1,000. I mean, I don't know what it would be, but I mean, it's laughable. Like I said yesterday, it would be essentially, it would be like you and I filling up the change tray in your car and pulling up to the NCAA and throwing it at their front door. I mean, that's
not even stopping the cars here.
$5,000 to the USC athletic program legitimately is like $10 to you and I.
Don't you think that it has very much of a cop pulls up at a high school party, and it's like, if you tell, like, that's what the NCAA is. Like, if you tell me what you did, you won't get in trouble. Then you do get in trouble for saying something they actually didn't know anything. And so now people are just like, we're not talking to the cops, dude. We're not talking to the NCAA about anything. And as much as I love to say it, Will Wade was pretty much like the tipping point for that, where he's like, look, I'm getting my own attorney here. LSU, I don't even want y'all to talk to him. Like, let me handle this, because there's a scenario where I just don't say anything and nothing happens.
You know who the savior on all this thing was, right? For everybody. Bruce Pearl.
Oh, yes.
Bruce Pearl called Will Wade and said, who the hell is your lawyer, bro?
Friend to friend. I want you in the SEC.
Who is the guy that is representing you? Well, it's this guy. What? Call this guy.
I got a number for you.
Call this dude.
Yes.
Once they made that call to the Chicago lawyer, Bruce Pearl's guy, Bill Self's guy, Sean Miller, Bill Self's guy, Sean Miller's guy, I mean, the whole thing spun.
Guy has season tickets everywhere.
The whole thing spun.
What a spot to be in for that lawyer to specialize in this one thing. Like, I'm just gonna learn everything I need to know about getting coaches like out of trouble, essentially, and then
what a life,
dude. You just get a 225 number, like, oh, I can guess who this is.
Willie.
Hold on, yeah.
William, I've been expecting your call.
Yeah, excuse me, shut my door.
Yeah, right. Where you been, buddy? What took you so long?
Check your email.
I mean, Bruce has been laughing his ass off at you.
Yeah, we felt bad for you.
Yeah, right. I mean, let me call this Will Wade guy for you real quick.
Well, I'll do this one pro bono. Don't worry about it.
Daily, we're brought to you by Nevadis. Remember, online at nevadis.com. Get in touch with Randall Nachman and his crew as he can help you today in custom building a website or a mobile application. If you need a mobile app, in fact, a lot of you have reached out and texted and emailed and asked about our mobile app. It is in production right now. Randall and Nevadis is helping us out over there, where their goal is to make businesses run more efficient, save time, and provide a beautiful experience for their customers. Nevadis.com is where you find them online. They specialize in automating things like order management, payment processing, asset tracking, communications, task management, digitizing paperwork, and a whole lot more. Online, Nevadis.com. When we come back, we will have Representative Tanner Magee in with us. He will be answering issues on marijuana and the policy going into his bill that is seeming to gain a lot of momentum and is a very popular speaking point for a lot of people talking about this legislative session that's happening in Louisiana. We'll ask him about the viability of recreational marijuana use becoming legalized in our state, where they are medicinally from flower marijuana, and where the proceeds of that revenue goes. And in fact, if it does go into our roads and infrastructure, we want to ask him, where the hell has he been for the last 80 years in Louisiana? Finally, a politician who uses the money and resources and puts it back into the state to try and make it better.
Build the train, build a loop, build something.
For God's sakes,
give me some pavement. I'll grovel in it.
Representative Tanner Magee from Houma, Louisiana, will be inside of the UDL over the next couple of minutes here on the Jordy Culotta Show. We'll be back. Driven and powered by Go Chevrolet every day. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022, 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at jordyculotta.com to learn more.
You'll never have the sacred stone. Oh, this you crazy mother.
Welcome back into the Jordy Culotta Show here on this Thursday. We're waiting Representative Tanner Magee to show up here for the UDL. Inside the UDL, we were talking about name, image, and likeness. Mississippi State Athletics announced on Monday they'll be the first university in the country to implement the Compass name, image, and likeness platform to aid its student athletes in maximizing and monetizing name, image, and likeness opportunities. Compass will provide MSU student athletes with NIL education, deal disclosures, and compliance monitoring tools. One easy-to-use platform, said Athletics Director John Cohen, as Mississippi State announced that on Monday. We'll start to see this all over the place with NIL. We appreciate Senator Connick for stopping by here on the Jordy Culotta show as he gave some insight to the lifeline of that bill, as it looks like that could be voted on as early as Monday. Dude,
does it make you nervous hearing what we just heard, that it's LSU's in charge of rolling this thing out after all of the PR that we've just gone through in the past, 15 years?
One thing that I believe that LSU has always proven is that they are going to try and protect their athletic department.
Yes.
So I would imagine that something this monumental and this effective on
we pick our
the
battles.
Department. Exactly.
We have one guy that's good at their job up there, like, oh, get him ready, get him going. The Ernie Adams of the LSU department.
They will be rocking.
Who is in charge of this? Is it like I'd imagine it's athletic department, right? It's not like stateside. It's LSU.
Wait, say it again.
Is it like the LSU athletic department that's in charge of this, or
I mean Stephanie Remp, who was up there yesterday answering the questions in front of the finance committee. I mean, she was talking about the protocols and the guidelines that were going to be in place, and she's the executive AD. I mean, there will be a portion of compliance that is in on this.
Oh, they'll definitely be involved.
The executive committee.
Group up there. Good. I hope they get paid overtime for all that they do for us. Good God.
And it is, I mean, there will be all types. And once the money starts coming in, people's hands will start showing up.
Yeah, of course. I worked on that.
Yeah, right. Let me get a piece of that.
Let me get a piece of that.
I think we're having a piece of that.
But, bro, if we can get Louisiana gambling, weed, roads might get fixed with this weed money.
Don't get too happy.
Yeah. And then we got our athletes are getting paid a little bit at LSU. What kind of state are we fast forwarded to the 21st century, dude? We're on the map.
Yes. I mean, let's not start yet. Not just yet. Not just yet.
Well, that's unbelievable that they're even on the table. I mean, when marijuana came up the first time in Louisiana, it was a staunch, absolutely fucking not. Like, no chance are we having this in our state. And then, as time passes, it's like, oh, maybe we can gamble a little bit. Then that was a big no. And so we've already gone through the hard part, and now we've got people that are more accepting. So it's look at us.
Bill got passed in 2014 for LSU to grow weed.
Right, but I'm talking about the recreational part of it was an absolute
but
take
that
a
was
hike.
like the first step you had.
There he is.
What's happening? What's happening?
All right. Let's get set up here. The man comes in here with a plan.
Yes, like my time is very valuable.
My man. All right, Representative Tanner Magee is in house. We'll get the set up and be right back here on the Jordy Culotta Show. What's up? Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculotta.show.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculotta.show.com to learn more. Perfect. Welcome back into the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered every day by Go Chevrolet, online at GEAUXChevrolet.com, down in Laplace, Louisiana, which is on the way down to Houma, which is where our next guest is from. Magee, it's good to see you again, man. It has been a long time. Good to see you, man. Get up on that microphone. It should swing in there.
All right, thanks. Yeah, right there's good.
That'll be good, man. Good to see you again. It has, man. It has. And obviously, you've been working. I saw you got a beautiful family. Lloyd told me he's got 3 girls. I said, this guy must have been a maniac back in the day. and then Jesse, and then our mutual friend was like, bro, that's the guy we used to hang out with the college. I was like, oh, no doubt. All right, so it's all coming together. There's our guy,
exactly, man. It's kind of weird how life comes back
together. It does. It all comes full circle, man. Good to have you in the UDL. Thanks for coming in. A topic that is very popular right now and seems to be very much a talking point for this legislative session is marijuana. And I know that you were behind this bill. Where are we? Where is the lifeline of this bill? And
yeah, so we're pretty far along. Medical marijuana, which is expansion to actual like real marijuana. Prior to my bill, you could buy like a tincture, like an oil-based product that really wasn't that widely used or popular with the consumers. But this is the real marijuana stuff. We've gotten it out of the Senate committee yesterday, in fact. So We'll be going to the Senate floor probably early next week, and I full expectation we'll get off the Senate floor and be on the governor's desk another week.
Damn.
I know it's moved fast. It hasn't really saw the kind of resistance. I mean, I was there when we first opened up the medical marijuana program. It was one of my first sessions, and it was highly contentious. I mean, It was back and forth, and it just shows you what the mindset has changed in just 5 years.
What do you accredit that to? Where does that come from?
I think it's just seeing it in other states and seeing it not being the end of the world kind of situation, and seeing that Colorado is kind of thriving right now and Louisiana is not thriving. I mean, you have to kind of reckon with those kind of concepts.
Yeah.
And I think, too, I mean, voters are getting younger, and, the generational shift there is just they want these kind of things, and they don't really have the old kind of
more progressive thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's progressive and libertarian too at the same time. I think the conservatives are more libertarian when they're younger, and so they're not really looking for these kind of heavy-handed police state kind of stuff.
Right, and this seems like an issue that obviously crosses over the aisle. Like, I mean,
Look, I polled full legalization in my district. I paid for the poll so that it wouldn't be one of these push polls. 75% of my district's in favor of it. And when you break out the numbers, it's even crazier.
And you were from a conservative part of our state, man.
Conservative part of the state, 73% of Republicans are for it, 73% of Democrats are for it, and something like 86% of independents, no parties, are for it.
Wow.
So it didn't make a difference in party, and it didn't make a difference on how you voted, how often you voted. It kind of crossed lines.
So the same thing I asked Senator Connick on the name, image, and likeness bill. Is this something that if signed into law by the governor, it's up and moving? Like,
it's up and moving.
Wow.
Yeah.
How would you? What would be the stipulations? Where are you in that process?
So the controls on it now is we have the 9 existing pharmacies across the state. They continue to sell. They basically have a new product on the shelf, and we limit. I don't want to give you the wrong number. It's a certain amount you can buy every 2 weeks, so you can't buy.
Yeah, right.
Pounds.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Cypress Hill running
yeah,
around town.
yeah. Cheech and Chong's going to make a remake. Yeah. They're making
What do you mean, man? It's legal.
Yeah, exactly.
Put it in my muffler.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a limited amount of a supply that you can buy. You have to go to a doctor and get a recommendation. It's not a prescription medication because a doctor could lose his license for prescribing something that's a Schedule I drug. But he can recommend a therapeutic use. So it's kind of a little bit different than medicine on its
holistic.
It's more like a holistic approach to it. And you bring your recommendation to the pharmacy, and you can buy up to I think it's 1.7 grams or something every 2 weeks. It's a decent amount.
Yeah. You seem like you are one of the legislators that have heard the gripes of not only your constituents, but the citizens from around the state asking where revenue, when you build in a bill like this that shows it has been windfalls for other state, where the revenue would go, and you have promised that it would go back to roads and infrastructure. And then when you do a little digging on your history, you're the only representative, the only legislator up there that has put together a bill that is built towards roads and infrastructure, being the BP bill. I mean, that I know has got to get people's attention.
It was my BP bill was the largest investment in roads and bridges in the state in 30 years. It was $700 million. That we used part of the BP settlement funds. We redirected it towards roads and bridges, and we put it in something we call all the time, which is the transportation sub-fund. One of the big issues we have in Louisiana is all the administrative costs are in the transportation fund. And so a lot of the money gets eaten up before it ever sees the highway, just administering the program, salaries, benefits, all that stuff. But the sub-fund has to go to actual road construction projects. We created the sub fund. We didn't put any money in it because we didn't have any money to put in it. So my investment was $700 million. But then what was really exciting for me is we were able to use that to draw down some federal dollars. So the amount of money we've actually put towards it in the bill is over $1 billion. We had the largest, what they call infra grant on the on the federal level, 300 applications across the nation, and we won, and we got an extra $150 million from the feds to do LA1 elevation projects. So that's going to be close to like a $600 million project when it's all said and done.
Damn. Who are some of the states that you look at on the marijuana stuff and say that should be somebody that we look at?
You know, and that's one of the crazy things about the bills. And you have Mississippi's coming online with a medical program. You have Arkansas is already online with a medical program. And I think if we don't start, you know, moving forward, you know, then we're going to get left behind, especially revenues too, man. And you're looking, and the good thing too is we can look and see the mistakes Colorado made, right? Yeah. They were that first test case, and they made a lot of mistakes, didn't realize the revenue they could have realized because they had too much grow your own provision. So everybody just started growing their own marijuana, not actually buying it, and their taxes are too high on it. So they kept the black market in place. So I mean, these are all things that we can adjust. I mean, there's a lot of info out there now.
And the universities are very instrumental in this, right? I mean, they are the grow facility.
They have the license themselves to do it. So there's Southern and LSU, and so then they actually partner with the private industry through their license to grow it and stuff. Yes.
What are some of the other issues that you're paying attention to during this legislative session?
Man, we have sports betting, which I'm sure your reader, your viewers are interested in. Which
Absolutely.
Is we've been working on, and
Monday was a big win for that, right?
Monday was a huge win for that. They got the tax piece off the floor of the House, which getting any tax bill off the floor of the House is really hard to do. I mean, the public might not realize that, but it's difficult. Sure. And so, you know, that's where.
Well, Stefanski was here on Monday morning, Representative Stefanski, and he said there are a section of legislators. It doesn't matter the policy or the bill. If there's a fee attached to it, they're nay.
They're no. Yeah, they're done.
And I mean, you know, that's just, you can't, how do you politic against that?
And the funny thing about sports betting is it's not a tax the consumer pays. The actual fee is on the companies, and they're like, we want to pay it. Like, you know, they're not even fighting, you know, like, we want to pay this tax.
Let that sucker's money in Louisiana.
Yeah, like here.
Yeah, we'll put the bill, y'all gotta bring it back tenfold.
Yeah, as long as it's not too high and you have your discussion with them, they're like really wanting to do it, and they're really wanting this, and people are still no. I'm like, well, but they want it.
Yeah, right. Mobile application huge on that?
Yeah, that's where the money is mobile. I mean, if you don't do mobile, you're really not going to. And we learned that from Mississippi, actually.
Yeah.
And so if you don't do mobile, you're not going to make any money off of it.
What did COVID do to your policies? What did COVID do to anything that you – I mean, we just talked to Senator Connick, and he said the name, image, and likeness was really kind of loaded up and ready to go last session. But with all of the COVID concerns and health concerns, that really got pushed to the back burner. How has it affected your policymaking?
Well, you know, one of the things, maybe not me particularly, but I've noticed is we had to shelve so many bills during COVID. We only get 5 during the fiscal session, which is what we're in now. And but all the bills, it seems like, are general session bills. I feel like we're still dealing with a lot of stuff that where we normally be focused only on fiscal policy stuff. We're doing a kind of other stuff, but I did a lot of stuff. Like I do a telemedicine bill, which allows people to just, you know, use their phones to communicate with their doctors.
Yeah, we use Relief Health with Vishal Vasanji.
Yes,
and they're I mean, like, they're kind of on the forefront of that.
Yeah, and I think that's the future, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the. And so I have a bill to open up telemedicine, make it more broader. That came out of COVID. I mean, just seeing that people were working, you know, from home, and they couldn't get to their doctor, or didn't want to get to their doctor's office, you know, that kind of stuff. I think we have to restructure Louisiana's economy towards being digital, however you want to call it, friendly, making sure we have broadband access. Those are the things we need to build a modern economy for.
Stefanski also mentioned a big turnover up there, that there's a lot of new faces up on the Capitol. And for whatever messages I've heard, it seems like it is, obviously it's very relatable to our generation. We're all right around the same age, but there does seem to be a new line of thinking up there. How much is that invited, and how much is that needed to what's going into these policies?
No, it's wonderful, man. You know, you have people out there for the first time who look at problems differently. And that's not to say that the old people were bad or anything. Sure. They just had their view. And so then you get 45 new people in, and they don't have the same hang-ups. And, you know, it's a completely – I see tons of bills that I thought, man, this was last year or 2 years ago. We wouldn't even be talking about it.
Wow.
And right now, this thing is sailing off the House floor with no opposition. You know, and I think marijuana, I think criminal justice stuff has changed huge. I mean, that whole viewpoint has shifted in 5 years.
You are getting a great support from a lot of your boys inside of the huddle. Jay Kalinga is there. Dr. Spillers is there. A lot of your old Brett Lofton is inside of there. You guys are very prideful LSU guys. That's where you and I met and hung out and went to a lot of LSU football games and experienced a lot of good times on that campus. As a legislator now, what is your outlook for the university?
Man, it's been tough times, right? I mean, we can't sit here and say that it's been a great year for LSU. I have 3 degrees from LSU. I tell people I love the football team, but I actually love the university more.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes these things they're obviously not positive, but maybe it's what we need, right? To reassess where we are as a university. So I'm excited. I think it's going to take some time. I know some people have some concerns about the new president. But, I think it's a new opportunity, and I think everybody should give him an opportunity to see what he can do. I mean, I think we should really look at it. I think the board of supervisors absolutely needs restructuring. I mean, to be honest with you, I've been having this conversation. I'm thinking about bringing legislation next year to kind of restructure the board, which would be highly controversial. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'd probably get killed on it, but I think we need to really revamp. I don't think you're going to get real change at LSU until you change the board of supervisors.
Yeah, because it's all appointed, right? I mean,
it's
nothing but a frat.
It's nothing
right?
but it's who the governor likes and who was his friends. And I'm not picking on this governor; it's every governor,
sure.
Right? And it's who they like, who their friends are, how much were they supportive, and that's really not how you want to manage university, right? You want people who understand universities. You want people who have business and right kind of backgrounds that know what they're doing, and we don't have that.
Yeah,
I'm not picking on any particular member. It's just
the overall structure.
The overall structure. We should look at other universities, how they set up their boards, and we should mimic that. Which ones are doing well.
Yeah, I agree. Representative Tanner Magee, a breath of fresh air. Brian Lindenmeyer says hello as well. There's a lot of your boys in here. So just to recap before we get you out of here, I know it's very busy. The lifeline of the marijuana bill, kind of where you are in this and where it goes.
Yeah, I think we're going to be passing it next week, and I think we're going to be.
It's unbelievable.
And I don't even imagine much opposition. I've gotten very few opposition at all. It's mainly been from the far religious right. It's the only people.
Is that like the smaller towns in Louisiana?
Smaller
towns,
districts. Yeah, and it's just that kind of group. But they're not even putting up a huge fight. I mean, when before they would be descending on the Capitol.
Yeah. We just talked to Senator Connick, name, image, and likeness. Kim Mulkey came up there. Coach Mulkey came up there last week. She's an ass kicker.
Oh, my God. I was the first person in the Capitol to greet her when she walked in, me and Stefanski.
Really?
And, man, that
sweaty palms.
She came in. She comes in hot. And she gives you a deep eye stare, too.
No doubt.
I'm like, man, I feel like a lesser man.
Tighten the tie, bro.
Exactly.
I mean, yes, ma'am.
Yes, exactly. Took your shirt in. What are you doing?
Right.
You're lucky she didn't pick you up like Paul.
Oh,
and then she barked on that name, image, and likeness stuff. And like Senator said, I mean, no opposition at this point.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
And look, it's just necessary, man. This is an arms race, and this is necessary if you want to compete with Alabama. I mean, at the end of the day,
right? I mean,
that's where we are,
and that's really what it's about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a breath of fresh. That's a great answer, and that's really what it's about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a breath of fresh. That's a great answer. Representative Tanner Magee, inside of the UDL. Thank you very much. It's great to see you, man.
Oh man, my pleasure.
Absolutely. Make sure you sign the flag before you get out of here.
Absolutely.
And best of luck best of luck on the rest of the session.
Yeah. Thank y'all. Thanks for having me again, man.
Absolutely. We come back. We'll close out the Jordy Culotta Show live here on YouTube, Facebook, jordyculotta.com. Brought to you by Go Chevrolet. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculotta.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, presented by Go Chevrolet. Remember, stop in and see the boys over at Go Chevrolet, Go Express Auto Sales. Newest used car lot over there on Florida Boulevard and online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. Great stuff from Representative Tanner Magee. If one thing has stood out in talking probably more politics than we would like on this show, because, look, man, we're not political and we're not talking politics and we're not getting in to political issues. But when things are in and around sports that make some sense, we will bring the conversation in. Obviously, name, image, and likeness dealing with college athletics is a huge issue right now. And then when you talk about sports gambling in the state of Louisiana, that's an enormous subject as well. Marijuana is something that is universally being discussed, both crossing over into mainstream and local news. But one thing that has jumped out is the refreshing mindset of the policymakers, whether it be Stefanski, whether it be a guy like Magee, or even an older head like Connick, who has been in there for a while. I mean, guys that are just kind of progressively thinking and not stuck in the ways. I was a lobbyist my first year out of college, and I never lobbied a bill. I never politicked anything, but I saw the process up close and saw it, just kind of how bills are made and kind of how the political wheel turns in Louisiana. So 1 year of a legislative session, or one legislative session and 1 year on the job in Louisiana politics, probably can't give you an overriding history review. But what I did pick up was that it was a lot of people stuck in their ways. It was a lot of old-time thinking that was very much politicized, and at the time that I was there seemed untouchable and unbreakable. And if one thing jumps out in talking to some of these fresh blood or these new faces of Louisiana legislature, notably guys that we've got relationships like Representative Tanner Magee and John Stefanski, is that it's a new line of thinking. It's a breath of fresh air in the sense and policies of looking at things very, idealistic and very efficient, saying, what are we doing here and why are we not putting resources there?
I think they're learning you can change your policies, but your principles stay the same. And it used to be, no, my policies don't change because of my principles. But now at these young guys, it's like, okay, like I have these certain principles, but new policies, and it's like really refreshing to see.
And it is also refreshing to hear that even in some of the most conservative line of districts, that the thinking and the voting is going in direction on policy that makes sense, best sense for the state, right? I mean, like there's been so many head scratching decisions where legislators come back and say, well, I just can't get the support from my district. When you say, well, I mean, don't they have the examples of what's going on in this state and the amount of money that's being made in sports gambling? I mean, the fact that it's taken Louisiana this long to catch up to sports gambling, who the hell are we?
Right.
I mean,
what's the most
on.
like that?
I mean,
I would say, what is it like? That's part of ingrained in the culture in Louisiana.
And there's
And
video poker.
yeah,
I
in the
mean,
gas station.
I mean, every gas station that it's illegal in, every parish that it's illegal in, you can sit down in a video poker machine at a gas station. I mean, there are casino boats in every port town in this state, man. You've never been on one?
No, that's my goal in life.
Wow.
Goal in life. You came to the right spot, dude.
There's one 3 minutes from your door, I'm sure. I mean, the Bell of Baton Rouge, you just jump on that thing.
Rock the boat, dude.
Get my best suit.
So, I mean, I just, I see that Louisianians are complaining about the impairment part of driving while impaired in dealing with the marijuana issue. Like, we do to-go daiquiris here. We have drive-through daiquiri shops in Louisiana.
Don't you put that straw in that cup now, sir.
I mean, like, you try to take a to-go drink in another state. If you're in one,
they look like you just pulled a mask off your face.
Go to your local Mexican restaurant and try to take your margarita with you the next time you leave. I mean, you'll get tackled at the door.
Act like you stole it.
I mean, they'll roll the red carpet out for you in Louisiana and give you your keys. You want me to pull your car around? I mean, like,
they'll make sure you get that drink with you on your way. Don't you want a to-go cup? Like,
exactly.
I guess
I'll order a to-go cup.
Yeah,
Just in case I want to give an Irish goodbye. I want to get this thing in a to-go cup, man. I might just shade out of here. Neil DeBenedetto, do you think we will be able to bet this football season, or will we have to wait until 2022? It seems like all of the legislation that we've talked about this morning, whether it's name, image, and likeness, the marijuana issue, they'll be ready to go as soon as it's signed into order, which sounds like it's going to be like in the next couple of weeks. I would imagine the same thing would happen with the gambling stuff. Now there are more issues around the gambling stuff, like like the tax and the mobile capability. So I don't know if you have to get all of that lined up before you make the ultimate decision. I'd imagine you do, but I mean, I'm not going to act like I know, but with the marijuana issue and with the sports gambling issue, or not the sports gambling issue, the name, image, and likeness issue, I mean, both of those seems like they're green lit and ready to be enacted in the next couple of weeks. I hope that sports gambling would be the same.
Yes, I just don't see how it couldn't be, and they have to be the people that are like voting on this, or however it gets into to be legal and like on the on the app or whatever. They have to be looking at the fall. Be like, if we miss fall, if we miss college football and we miss the NFL, then you might as well just wait another year.
You know how much money the state would have made in 2019?
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
you know how much money I made in 2019? Like, dude, Vegas was late to the party. I watched game one. I was like, all right, we're going, boys. This is the way that LSU's going to play the rest
55.
of the I mean, and then it would have been an absolute nightmare for the casinos. Your bookmaker, I'm going to kill him.
All right, tomorrow morning, Kim Mulkey will be here 7:30 tomorrow morning. She will be live from Springfield, Mass, as she is set for the Naismith Hall of Fame induction this weekend. It'll be a magical moment at the Naismith this weekend with the introductions of guys like Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, Kim Mulkey, and of course Kobe Bryant being presented by Michael Jordan. Jordan starting to talk a little bit about the preparation of Saturday, and saw where he still has the last text message that he and Kobe shared back in December, talking about some of the coaching stuff that Kobe was doing, and in true Kobe fashion, it seemed like Jordan was kind of messing with him when he said, like, "How you doing over there, Coach?" And Bryant fired right back, "We're up 45-8 right now, Coach."
It slaughtered him.
Yeah. You just got to show in his competitive imagination, and to hear Jordan or be able to hear Jordan kind of give those stories and talk individually about Kobe on his presentation is going to be a major moment for basketball and for athletics. I think that is going to be something that is going to be must-watch television. And as I told Coach Mulkey, I believe that the images of Saturday that will come out of Springfield, that will come out of that Naismith Hall of Fame, will be images that you see for 100 years. I mean, you will see that replayed, Michael Jordan presenting Kobe Bryant into the Hall of Fame will be a clip and a night that is replayed, I mean, forever. I mean, it is something that, my generation, our generation watches clips of old guys like, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and, anybody that came before our generation, Clyde Frazier or, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, John all of those teams that came way before my time, and the images that you still see. I mean, I will always have ingrained in my mind Dr. J going up and under the goal on the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, think about it. You will always see Michael Jordan going up right to left in midair versus the Lakers in the 91 finals. These will be the types of images that come out of this Hall of Fame induction weekend for the Naismith. I think that this is something that basketball lovers will see this weekend celebrated for generations upon generations. I mean, my grandkids will see images that come out from Saturday in the Naismith Hall of Fame.
Perfect time to make an NFT. Get that non-fungible token going. If that's what you do, that's that one of one, the top shot. This could be an absolute top shot moment. That's it, and it will sell for millions of dollars.
That's where everybody's going. All right, good show today. I appreciate all of the interaction. Shout out to Jesse McCormick for helping us out with our representative Tanner Magee this morning, and the senator Pat Connick, as he was in here talking name, image, and likeness. All of our stuff is brought back to you by RMB Builders. Check out the podcast wherever you may find it. It is easy to get the Jordy Culotta Show. Thanks to everybody on their interaction. Make sure to like, share, and comment. We're back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.